Yeah, I think it's time, man. Here we are grinding higher. Morning, Trade Pros. Check 1, 2. Simon, good morning from the UK to the UK from Toronto. Good morning, guys. Welcome to Morning Market Update. The last one for the week for Friday, September 27th of 2019. George Papazov, Trade Pro Academy. Hope you guys had a great evening. Markets are making some movements here. We're going to talk about a few things today. First and foremost, IPO market update. It's not going so well. Companies that have already IPO'd, like Uber, Slack, and other ones that have gone IPO this year, have faced numerous challenges. And two of them are being canceled. WeWork obviously has delayed their IPO. A company called Endeavors has canceled their IPO, and a lot of them are thinking about really delaying it. So what that tends to mean is it's really late cycle. Investors are tired of paying stretched valuations for companies that are losing money as they go IPO. All right, it's showing the appetite for these IPOs is waning or drying off. And I think for me, that's a long-term sign that we're losing this optimism. We're a late-stage bull market. All right, it's getting late into the cycle, into the process to be paying stretch valuations for losing companies. So that's an interesting update. In other news, ETFs are set to get their own regulation. This is big news. Since the first exchange-traded fund launched in 1993, they've been forced to use the same process to go and list or issue their shares as mutual funds. Mutual funds are very regulated, all right, strictly regulated. There's a very strict process people have to go through to start a mutual fund, all right, to issue the prospectus and to eventually sell the units of the mutual fund. Chance to have their own set of rules according to the SEC. The SEC is adopting Rule 6C-11, which could sound like a notorious crime ring somewhere in a country. 6C-11 Crips. Anyways, 6C-11 is what it's called, which aims to simplify regulations governing ETFs. And the idea is to be able for ETFs to go from an idea from conceptual stage to be listed on the market quicker because they bypass a lot of the mutual fund requirements. There's no advice component. They're lower cost. All right, and it's passive management for most ETFs. In fact, all ETFs. That's an interesting piece of legislation. All right, today all the news is coming out for the oil market. So let's do a quick market update on where we stand overnight. Heading into this U.S. Open, they have 3 news items to talk about on oil. So in Asia, Japan's down 0.8%, Hong Kong's down 0.3%, China's up 0.1%, and India's down 0.4 of a percentage point. All right, so red across the board mostly in Asia. In Europe, we're seeing some moderate gains. London's up 1.1%. Paris is up 0.3 on the CAC 40, and the Frankfurt DAX is up 0.9%. So you're seeing gains across the board in Europe, and that positive momentum is really spilling over to the United States. Dow's up 0.4%. S&P is up 0.4%. All right, and Nasdaq is also up 0.4%. And we put in a new overnight high above yesterday's U.S. swing high. So structure's bullish, but we have huge resistance at these 95s. I think through the 95s on the S&P 500 futures, which is the ES, through 95s, we popped some buy stops up to 3,006. All right, but the trend has been the last couple of days. We go strong overnight, huge fade into the early morning, followed by transition late afternoon. All right, so keep that trend in the back of your mind. But I think today's different. It's Friday. We're going to want a strong close this market. I think we get it back above 3,000. All right. In terms of oil price was up 0.2%, only to get slaughtered and get hit and open at yesterday's lows. At one point, oil was trading at an overnight high of 56.62. We opened it up to the middle of the 55s, 55.41 approximate open on oil a few minutes ago, and the overnight low is at 54.75, which I think, I'll leave this to Mr. Box or Oil Desk Manager to answer the question for you, but I think that closes the gap of the oil Saudi facility bombing. We had a massive gap. We said that as new production comes online again from Saudi, we're going to have a drop of oil prices. This morning, there's a contributor to that fact, all right? And it's this. Saudi Arabia is seeking to impose a partial ceasefire with Houthi militants from Yemen, all right? So Riyadh and Yemen are looking to have already put together. Yemen suggested last week, was accepted today by Saudi Arabia, a ceasefire between a war that's been going on for 4 years. All right, and this war is happening around very dense oil production facilities, and a lot of the world's oil flows go through that area. And so really, at the end of the day, this de-escalation is good news for oil because there isn't going to be as many disruptions. It removes the fear premium, but it's bad news in a way that, we already have some fear built into the oil price. So de-escalation is actually a downside driver because there's less concerns of supply disruptions, less concerns of war, and it's pushing prices lower. That's just one thing this morning. There's multiple things. Iran has released the UK tanker that it held captive for 2 months. All right, the tracker and GPS data, which, by the way, you could track every oil tanker online. There's a website where you can do that. I just forget the name, escapes my mind, but you could track the flow of oil globally with real-time GPS data. GPS and tracker data now shows that Stena Impero, the UK ship, is actually now on the move. So it's been released by Iran. And Iranian president this morning had some good news. He said, President Rouhani said, U.S. offered to remove all sanctions on Iran in exchange for talks. Right? That's new information. You guys remember they were all together in Europe a couple of weeks back. They were talking about this. French President Macron tried to convince, along with our very own Canadian Prime Minister, tried to convince Iran's leader to have a meeting with Trump. Rouhani was just laughing the whole way through as we're presenting arguments. It's kind of funny to watch. But now it seems that Iran has been offered relief of all sanctions for potential talks. On September 25th, President Rouhani said, Iran will never yield to U.S. sanctions and pressure. We're committed to the 2015 nuclear deal, but our patience has a limit. We'll not talk with the U.S. until sanctions are removed. There is now news that just came out that the U.S. has offered, hasn't happened, but they've offered to remove all sanctions on Iran, which would be super positive for talks to move forward, and that would actually hit oil on a bearish note. All right, positive news translates to negative oil price because fear premium is quickly priced in. The removal of fear premium is being priced into this market. And last but not least, no, that was last but least. All right, 3 events driving oil price lower today. Gold is down 1.1% as stock markets rebound. Gold hit 1497 this morning, broke below the key structure of 1500. I still think gold's going to 1470. We get way below these 95s. I think we get there really fast. Bitcoin's getting hit hard as well, down 5%, back below 8,000. All right, and on today's economic calendar, we had preliminary durable goods orders come out stronger than expected, which is good. And August personal income right in line with expectations, but personal spending was weaker than expected in the United States, 0.1 versus 0.3%. What that's telling you is incomes are roughly the same, but people are spending less. Less consumption leads to less economic activity, right? Less consumption means less sales for companies, less profitability. All right, that's one factor. The other factors are getting very cheap interest rates to borrow, so they could sustain to borrow and to grow their businesses, but lower personal consumption means lower sales for corporations, which is a sign. All right, consumers are starting to think a little bit further ahead and saying, look, we had some really good economic expansion, some big booms. A lot of people are doing better than they were in the prior recession, and now they're trying to curtail or pull back a little bit of their spending, and that's showing in the August personal income figure. It's not really a massive, oh my gosh, sell everything you own and go into bonds and gold, but it is another sign that the U.S. economy started to slow down a little bit. In fact, the global economy started to slow down a little bit. In fact, a lot of global economies are already in recession, let alone slowing down. All right. Fed's Quarles this morning was speaking on macro-prudential regulation. I have no freaking clue what that means, but he said he's not discussing economic outlook. All right, so I know what that means. That means nothing really comes out of it. 10 a.m., we have consumer sentiment. 12 p.m., we have Fed's Harker speaking on the economic outlook. I doubt that he'll say on a conference of the economic outlook that he's not discussing economic outlook. So I think something will come out of that around noon today. Keep your ear out on the squawk. There's going to be some developments from Fed's Harker. 1 p.m., we have the Baker Hughes rig count. This is going to be particularly important to oil traders. It's going to move the market. This is the offshore drilling activity in the United States, and it's been steadily declining. Thanks to Stephen for that article. And farm prices at 3 p.m. All right, so you don't really have too much on the docket. Here's the plan: get in early, make money early, leave early. I ain't going to be trading past 11. If I'm trading past 11:30, something's gone horribly wrong. All right, we'll see you guys tomorrow. Have yourselves a happy weekend. For equities, I'm seeing early morning weakness, so early morning sell-off followed by mid-morning reversal, and then I think we close it to the upside. A level that I'm looking at for an ultimate target today to close around is 3,009.5. All right, so I'm looking at. It's going to take some news flow to push it up there. But early morning, I see a spill. Depending on how deep that sell-off goes, we might be lucky to just break 3,000 and hold there, 3,006. If it's not a very deep pullback, if we only get to the 81 level, which is yesterday's close, and the yesterday's open as well as 84, plus the VWAP session on Globex at around 83. So if we hold 81 to 84, I think that puts us on a springboard up to the nines above 3,000. All right. Watch for early morning weakness. Be careful out there. That's been the pattern. Take care. Love you all. Have a great rest of your weekend. Manage your risk, trade like a Trade Pro, and we'll see you on Monday. Thanks for tuning in. Have a great day. Goodbye. Trade Pros in the room. Last day. We've had an incredibly good week. Let's close them out strong and put in a good, solid team effort today. I want to see the poll showing 100% profitability. That's been my goal. Thank you, Marky. Welcome aboard. Thank you, Will. Georgia Mitchell, hello. Will, good morning. Dubrovnik. Saludos from Dubrovnik. Hello, Will. Krishnan, hello. Joseph, good morning. William Craig, good morning to you too. Everyone on YouTube. Thanks for the love. Love you guys. See you on Monday. Take care and goodbye. Boxy, let's get started with you and oil. And then I'll come back and take it over. And we'll talk about the S&P. I'll give you some levels and ideas for the day. And then we watch the open. So Boxman,